This is Christie Arkovich again, a student loan attorney in Tampa, Florida. I'd like to talk today about whether it's a good idea and how you would go about paying off or settling your federal student loan. There's a lot of borrowers, and I spoke with one today, that owe $10,000 or less. And so there's an option of actually being done with that federal student loan by paying it off. And this particular client was asking, how do I pay off a loan? And he had one letter from the department, and it showed a student ID, and it had a payoff number. The problem is that it didn't have a separate loan, and it also didn't ask for any waivers of anything, and there was no identifications other than the student ID as to which loan balances were being paid off. And so my recommendation for those of you out there that are considering paying off your federal student loans, if they're small enough, and we can have a separate talk about refinancing later, is essentially don't ask just for a payoff. A payoff is where you would be paying off the entire balance that's owed. That includes principal, it includes interest, whether it's accrued and applied to the loan or suspended in a different account. It also includes collection costs. A lot of people, their loans are in default. And then finally, it includes the FFEL waiver of interest and collection costs that may have occurred in the past year during COVID. So what you want to do is, first of all, you want to ask for your loans. You make sure all your loans are included. All loan balances are included. So studentaid.gov will have a listing of what loan balances you have, the account numbers, how many loans you have. That's a great place to go to start. Make sure that what you are asking them for in the ray line, in the subject line, that you include each of the account numbers so that you know you're talking about all of your federal loans. Number two, don't just ask for a payoff. Include a hardship paragraph or two. What kind of difficulties you've had in the last few years that make payment difficult. And then ask for the collection costs to be waived. One of the little known things is collection costs are not small in these federal student loans. It's not $100 here, $100 there. When you default, which is defined as not making payments for 9 months or 270 days, they add 25% to the loan balance. And that's a huge number. I mean, if you owe $10,000, that would be an additional $2,500. And if you owe 50, et cetera. And so ask for that to be waived. In our federal student loan settlements, I think we've been successful in getting that waived every time. It's not mandatory that they waive it, but I don't think we've ever been denied that request. Additionally, why not ask for a 10% reduction of principal and interest? We've seen up to 30%. It's very common that we get closer to around 10%. So why not ask for that? Again, include the hardship information, what kind of financial, health reasons, things that have happened to you in the last few years that have made it difficult to repay, include that. That way it gives them a basis to actually forgive a portion of the loan, that 10% of principal and interest perhaps. And then state that you don't have the ability to make continued payments, but you have the one-time ability to just pay this off. Maybe it's by making a 401k withdrawal. Maybe it's borrowing from some source, including family members. We include that many times. But right now, during COVID, an interesting thing is the expansion to the CARES Act that occurred in, I believe it was February or March of this year. They retroactively reversed any of the interest that they had applied or charged through the COVID period. They were also to reverse any of the collection charges and even the garnishments that were mandatorily made. Now, if you have a FFEL loan and you've been voluntarily making payments during this year, you can actually ask for that to be returned. It's not going to happen automatically. It's something you have to ask for. So the student loan system as a whole is not that transparent. You don't know to ask for things. Like one of the common things that I tell folks when they have a private student loan is if you don't want to hurt your credit and you don't want to try to settle it, at least ask for an interest rate reduction program. Most private student loans, they charge, not really 2, 3, 4%, but they often charge, 5, 10, 15, even 18 or more %. So why not ask for the interest to be reduced? And then when you're trying to pay these loans off, you can put as much towards the principal as you can because hardly any interest is being paid. That's one way to address a private student loan. You can also try to refinance. You can also try to default and settle. There's a lot of different options. But specifically with federal student loans, you don't get it if you don't ask for it. So ask for all of your loans to be included in the payoff, ask for a waiver of the collection costs, ask for a waiver of a portion of the principal and interest, and then by all means, get it done, get it paid. Now, whether you should now, it's a bit of a question because there could be a 10%, a $10,000 across the board forgiveness. I know that's being talked about by Congress. An additional conversation is about a $50,000 across the board. I don't think there is enough of a consensus behind the $50,000. I think that $10,000 is still likely to occur, but I'm getting a little worried about it because we're partway through summer now and we haven't heard any more. What I suspect is going to happen is that the forbearance that I thought was going to end and is currently supposed to end the end of September is probably going to be bumped out another few months to the end of December. And then perhaps this fall, we might see a more widespread student loan bill that may encompass a $10,000 across the board for forgiveness. So the question is, if you want to settle, if you have the funds to settle, should you do so now before they do that forgiveness? It's up to you. If you don't think Congress is going to get its act together and actually get that passed, then by all means, get it done now. If you think you might have a $10,000 forgiveness, then paying it off shortly before, you're really going to regret that if they do indeed forgive amounts that are owed. They're certainly not going to give any kind of refund. I don't think that would be in the cards at all. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Please hit the subscribe button. I want to know that people are watching these videos, getting value from these videos. Know that we are there to help you if you need. Some things you can do it yourself. Some things an attorneys may be able to do a little bit better for you. Also, it takes time, to get into all of this, and we would do it for you and then save you that time. So hopefully this has been both entertaining, but more importantly, enlightening on how the system works and how to get the best bang for your buck. Have a great day, and be sure to watch our other YouTube videos as they come out about additional stimulus. Thank you so much. Again, it's Christie Arkovich. Bye-bye.